So yes, something very mysterious is happening with update 1.6. That is going to be the next big free update for Cyberpunk 2077. Check out the headline right here. It says upcoming Cyberpunk update becomes most tested patch this game ever got. I wonder what they're testing. So we're going to be dissecting this today and talking about what they could actually be testing out for this new patch based on all the evidence that we have so far. And yes, we are going to be getting very realistic about the next free update, what you can actually expect from this update despite some of the leaks, the hype that is going around this next update. So yeah, that's very important to do. Plus, we're going to be talking about how Cyberpunk once again is doing the impossible. This is excellent news for the future of Cyberpunk as a whole. And it looks like we will be getting another big open world Cyberpunk game that is not in the Cyberpunk 2077 universe. We're going to be talking about Deus Ex. You guys may remember this one. I've been dying for a brand new Deus Ex game, and it looks like it could actually be happening based on new rumors. But first, you guys have got to check this out right here. All right, so I have to show you this free game I recently discovered. It's called War Thunder. Now, this game offers intense action with over 2,000 fully realized vehicles that players can fully customize. These include tanks, airplanes, helicopters, ships, and much more in the most comprehensive PvP vehicle combat game ever made. So join me right now on the battlefield. Follow the link at the top of this video's description to download the game right now for free on PC, PlayStation, or Xbox. And if you use my link right now, you'll get access to a large free bonus pack, which includes premium vehicles, premium account, boosters, and much more. Now, one thing I absolutely love about War Thunder is that it offers something for everyone. So if you want a quick PvP match, you can do that, but if you want a more realistic tactical experience in War Thunder, you can also do that as well. And did I mention this game is downright beautiful? War Thunder offers incredible graphics at 4K with authentic and immersive sound effects. You can tell the developers poured their heart and soul into this game. Every vehicle is insanely detailed and even modeled down to their individual components. The attention to detail also carries over to the dynamic and detailed vehicle damage models. No general hit points here. Vehicles take actual damage to their components and crew. And yes, it is super impressive to witness. So I think it's time you join me right now on the battlefield. Follow the link at the top of this video's description to download the game right now for free on PC, PlayStation, or Xbox. And if you use my link right now, you'll get access to a large free bonus pack, which includes premium vehicles, premium account, boosters, and much more. Check it out. All right, so back to the Cyberpunk news. We got to talk about this one right here with 4,600 upvotes. You guys are so excited for this free update, just goes to show. And this comes from Blackhand. He says, upcoming Cyberpunk update becomes most tested patch this game ever got. I wonder what they're testing. And yeah, let's get into what they could be testing. But he did post some evidence, which is interesting. The Steam database does show the occurrence of internal tests and updates are actually significant for the month, more significant than we've ever seen recently, which is indicating that I think we're getting closer and closer to this update releasing. But it also could indicate that they are really testing out a major feature that perhaps they're kind of really wanting to make sure launches without any problems. That could be an indication, of course. I really don't want to overhype this, so we're going to go over what we could realistically be expecting with this update. So check this out right here. This one comes from Pyro Potluck, who says this: in my opinion, very likely just transmog plus some new outfits and other customization too, if we're lucky, plus a new gig or two. I would absolutely love a new game plus though. This game badly needs it. I always want to start another playthrough, but don't want to start from absolutely square one. So yeah, transmog is actually very realistic, as we have seen previously, kind of like official teases from the Cyberpunk Twitter account showcasing that, yeah, they are interested in transmog, as you can see right here. All eyes on transmog. Now, New Game Plus is by far the other big feature that you all want to see. Would we see it with update 1.6? It could be known as update 1.8 as well. I'm not too sure. You know, that's a lot to ask right there. I think New Game Plus could potentially be coming after the expansion or right alongside the expansion in another free update. But yes, what CD Projekt Red has said officially before Cyberpunk released, of course, is that they were working on a new Game Plus mode. They might have just put that on the table considering everything that went on during the launch of the game. But I do think that based on that alone, we would be seeing New Game Plus eventually, but I'm not too sure if it's coming with update 1.6. Transmog, yes, I do think that we would be getting Transmog much, much sooner. Now we have this comment right here. I'm hoping new gigs, new Game Plus, Transmog, new apartments, and maybe new weapons, vehicles, gear, but instead I'll likely be disappointed and it'll be only 2 new jackets. I really hope not. The internet will go into an absolute uproar if they botch this next update. And I honestly think if they mess up this next update, there will be less hype, much less hype for the upcoming expansion. So I really don't think they could mess up this update. They have to nail it down. It has to be really, really good. Bigger than update 1.5, in my opinion. Now, would we be getting new apartments? I think that they would want to perhaps maybe experiment with 1 apartment at max, but honestly, I think we would be getting new weapons. The gigs, definitely new gigs as indicated by leaks and that sort of thing. And I really, really want to see car customization further fleshed out for this game. I think it's by far one of the most missing features in this game for sure. Now we have this comment right here from Madeline who says this patch wouldn't be tested this hard if they were only doing something minor. This is likely going to be a number of things they promise, a number of the most requested features like Transmog, New Game Plus, car customization, etc. If not any of that, then this would be the expansion they were promising, but considering they said it wouldn't be released until 2023, I'm guessing it's the former, not to get anyone's hopes up, but I also think the suggestion, that it's just a couple of new jackets or something like that is absurd considering what's going on here. So yeah, it's definitely not the expansion, by the way. I don't think it's New Game Plus. I could be wrong about that one. Car customization would be cool, of course, but keep your expectations in check with this one. But yeah, I think they're going to nail down some of the more requested features. Now, one thing that no one is actually mentioning right now is an update to the police system. So I think my personal opinion on this one is we would be getting an update with Transmog and perhaps an update to the police system. And that's going to be one of the big features of this next update. That's my assumption. Then we have this one from Wizard Lizard who actually responds. He says, I don't think that the number of QA updates is indicative, of the patch size or the amount of new content. 1.5 didn't get nowhere near as many, and it's the largest patch to date, whereas 1.3 saw pretty frequent QA updates and was seen as somewhat disappointing patch. Something most likely requires quite a bit of testing, perhaps a new gig or New Game Plus. As we know, these are part of the planned free DLCs, but it's best not to get your hopes up. Again, there hasn't been recent comments about New Game Plus, but I do agree with him. Keep your expectations in check for sure. Now we got to talk about how Cyberpunk, despite all the issues and problems that it has had, is right now doing what I consider to be the impossible, and it's honestly great news for the franchise. I do want to see Cyberpunk around forever, basically. I want to see The Witcher around forever and Cyberpunk and basically rotate between those two because I love them. But we have Paolo Sasco of CD Projekt Red who says, thank you, Chooms. Both Cyberpunk and The Witcher 3 on the global list of Steam best sellers. Heart emoticon. And check this out right here. This is so cool to see. Of course, there's not much really going on right now with game releases, but this is really cool to see the staying power of Cyberpunk 2077. And yeah, even The Witcher 3 after all of this time. Now, we got to talk about another big franchise that is very much themed around Cyberpunk, and I love this franchise, and I've always wondered, where did it go? Why did this disappear? Check out the headline right here. It says this: Deus Ex may return under Embracer. Eidos wants to do what Cyberpunk 2077 couldn't. So let me know if that gets you hyped. Again, guard those hype levels because when I saw this headline, I was like, no freaking way. I would love to see Deus Ex return, but this time on the level of Cyberpunk or Skyrim, and even like surpassing what they did with Human Revolution and of course Mankind Divided. But let's check out what the article goes on to say. Zoom this in a little bit for you. It says, following Embracer Group's purchase of Square Enix Western AAA studios, most of the focus has been on what might happen with Crystal Dynamics in the Tomb Raider franchise. But what about Eidos Montreal? With another Guardians of the Galaxy game likely off the table, what might they be tackling next? Well, according to Jeff Grubb on the latest episode of his Game Mess morning show, it seems they may be going back to the franchise they're best known for, Deus Ex. While everything is still very early, Embracer said to be much more open to bringing back Adam Jensen, and Eidos Montreal is fired up to do what Cyberpunk 2077 couldn't within the sci-fi RPG sphere, which means I would hope that they can actually nail down a launch of a single-player open-world game without any problems. Now, the quote goes on to say this. It says, We don't know really what to expect from Embracer-owned Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal. It's early. The rumblings I've heard, they want to get right back into Deus Ex. They want to do what Cyberpunk couldn't. That's the word going around. I mean, we'll see if that happens. It's so early. Who knows what they will turn into? But that was probably not even. There was no possibility that conversation to even begin under Square Enix. Right. So, yeah, you know, in my opinion, it makes sense considering they did mess around with the Marvel stuff. They've also messed around with Tomb Raider, of course. But yeah, Deus Ex has been off the table and people are dying for more Cyberpunk. I can feel it. They want it. They need it. And even Cyberpunk 2077 is having this strange staying power. And of course, I think that is a lot to deal with the recent updates, the next gen update. And on the PC side of things, you got to remember the modding community has been amazing with what they've done. And CD Projekt Red, in my opinion, should be extremely, extremely thankful to the modding community for keeping this one afloat. And I think they're going to keep it afloat for even longer. But check this out right here. Mentioning mods, it says Cyberpunk mod adds new area for players to explore. This is not like a major, huge, sprawling area, but it is very, very cool. Check out the links in the description below to check it out for yourself, of course. But it goes on to say this right here. Getting into the repair shop isn't that simple, as a player will have to enter through a side alley before accessing an elevator that will grant them entrance. Once a player does get inside this garage, they'll notice the interior isn't huge, but it is well made. Cables are scattered over the floor and so on and so forth. Now, the point of this, there's also some rewards in there, including a powerful sniper rifle. And this building wasn't accessible previously. And it's cool to see that modders are taking the world and fully fleshing it out. I want to see this more and more. That's the thing. A lot of us want to see more explorable interior. So I hope the modding community really gets together and makes it to where like most of the city is explorable. That's a dream, but I do want to see CD Projekt Red really flesh out. If there's any interiors I want to see fleshed out, it's those mega buildings. That's my biggest request right there. All right, so now it's time to get into your top comments about my most recent video. So let's do this. My most recent video was this one right here. It says Cyberpunk Update 1.6 to be a major update. New leaked roadmap indicates new update. So yeah, I kind of dissect this recent, I guess you would say leak. In my opinion, some of it's true, some of it isn't true. So check out the previous video if you want to. But anyway, let's get into what you guys had to say about this one. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom this in for you all. We have Dan who says the following: while I'm extremely skeptical about the expansion being 3 times the size of the base game's campaign, I am too. I don't think that's going to happen at all, by the way. Part of me is thinking that CD Projekt Red could revive and polish up the story elements that fell to the cutting room floor. If a game ever was ripe for an extended director's cut, Cyberpunk 2077 would be it. And you know what? I do think that they would want to perhaps release something like that in the future. Maybe by 2025, release some sort of director's cut for Cyberpunk, like the definitive edition. That'd be so cool to see. All right, next up we have this one right here from Tulanis, who says this: I would like to see more side quests that are specific to the life path you chose at the start, so that choosing a life path has more meaning to it. This is by far one of the most talked about things. Also adding 1 or 2 bisexual romantic interests, purchasable garages with customizable cars, more cutscenes, in-game opportunities to see your character without adding third person, and would also like to see a companion system at some point but in a later update. Yeah, that would be cool to see as well. And a really fully fleshed out faction system would be nice. But I actually do want to see a fully functioning third person perspective. I think it would bring a lot of people to this game, people that have ignored the game. So yeah, that's just my personal opinion. Will it happen? Again, I don't know. I'm not going to say anything on that one, but it would be cool. Now we have this one. Whoa, we have a lot going on here. We have Mark Raider who says this, or Mark Raider who says, I was walking on the train rails last night and everything looks so different from that perspective. It really feels more like Cyberpunk environment, high buildings, long falls. You can see the air vehicles flying very close. It gives you that Blade Runner vibes, very strong. So I say they only need to add the train system they discarded with all the stations functional, just like the modders did, but better, and add flying cars or ships to really dive into the total experience of Cyberpunk world. Add more power to the power jumps to make the world more explorable. And in the next expansion, if it's done all this improvements, they really would just need to use those high scenarios and make air missions so players will see all the beauty of this world CD Projekt Red created, and it's not fully appreciated from the street's point of view. This is such a good point. Oh, and make a better use of the freeways. They really are very unused in missions, but they show another beautiful part of the view of the city. I really miss it in my first playthrough, and when I use them, the freeways, my jaw dropped. They're so touching and refreshing. Yeah, you kind of remind me of another Cyberpunk game that I don't know if you guys played. It's called The Ascent. It's a co-op top-down shooter, and basically you start in the underworld in the sewers, and you work your way up to the top level, I guess you would say, where it becomes more beautiful and where the rich live and that sort of thing. I really wish they would have some sort of mission structure like that in Cyberpunk, where you work your way up to the top levels and you get to really explore the heights of this world. It's a very vertical world, a lot of missed stuff there, but yeah, it'd be cool if they did that for sure. And mega buildings is another way, in my opinion, that they could really tap into this. But yeah, also I wanted to remind you guys of this one right here. Check it out. And remember, I'm waiting for you on the battlefield, so be sure to join me right now in War Thunder. Follow the link at the top of the video's description to download the game right now for free on PC, PlayStation, or Xbox. And if you use my link right now, you'll gain access to a large free bonus pack, which includes premium vehicles, premium account, and boosters, and much more, so check it out. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned for more Cyberpunk 2077 open world gaming goodness, and I will see you all next time. Take care.